Learned a lot about how the Romans did crucifixion.
Right.
Talk about the process quickly.
Well, there was no one process. Like they didn't have to use a tau shape or like what we call a cross. It could have been a stake. Josephus said that when the Romans took Jerusalem, plundered Jerusalem about 40 years after Jesus died, he said they ran out of wood. He said they used every piece of wood and stuck these guys up there in every conceivable way. And Josephus is not the only one who says that. The few references that describe crucifixion, they're grotesque. And generally the person was whipped first. And comments about beatings are nasty, with or without crucifixion. One writer says they would often whip people until their organs came out.
Right.
So, I mean, it's nasty, nasty. And then you'd nail them up there.
Yeah.
And it's probably mostly over by that time.
Yeah. So then how did the Romans, who weren't medical students, how did they know a guy was dead when he was on the cross?
Yeah, and that's a great question. Like if I role play and I play a skeptic, I'm going to say, yeah, well, how do you guys know he's dead? Did you remember to plug in the EEG and the EKG before you did this? Would you plug him into a rock? And where's the guy with the MD from Johns Hopkins, you know? And you know, the question goes like this. The Roman soldier may not be an MD, but he's been in battle, and he's alive because he's good at this. And the point is not where are the organs. The point is, where do you drop a man the fastest? And they knew the center of the chest would be the place. You could get him at a shoulder, you get him a leg, you can hobble him, but you want to kill him quickly, you go for the center of the chest. And with spears and things, you know, not so much for the head, they got helmets on, center of the chest. So the Romans knew that. The question isn't could they pass an anatomy exam, it's how best to kill them. And they were very good at that.
Well, we had two things going on. One is the long way of crucifying a guy was asphyxiation. What does that mean? And then they took the short route because of the holiday there. Tell me what that means.
Yeah, if you do a survey, which I just finished doing for this large magnum opus I'm doing on the death and resurrection of Jesus, there are different suggestions from medical doctors for exactly how someone dies on the cross. Most people think shock is involved. Most people think congestive heart failure. But by far the most popular option is that death by crucifixion is essentially death by asphyxiation. And if a person hangs in a down position, the muscles, the intercostal pectoral deltoid muscles that you work out in a gym, they're the ones that they get pulled down by the weight of the body, and the person can't breathe very long. And you go, well, wait a minute. He was on the cross for just a few hours and everybody thought it wasn't long enough. Well, because they could push up on a little, most likely, either push up on a little piece of wood or on the nails that are through the feet, which is pretty grotesque. But when you can't do that anymore and you lose your strength, and like I tell people, if your staying alive depends on you doing pull-ups, people aren't going to be doing very many. And so it's a attrition. And when the person gets tired, they're low on the cross. And here's the key point. If you hang low and you're not pushing up and you're not shouting, because if you shout, you talk, you're in the up position. You have to exhale. And if you're down low, in some experiments, as soon as 11 or 12 minutes, the person's unconscious. So if you're in the low position 15, 20, 30 minutes, don't mess with him, he's dead. When John says that they come to the two men and they saw Jesus was already dead, you go, where's your medical degree? I got eyes. I could see he's hanging at the bottom of the cross. So it's a built-in check and minus system where you can tell what's going on.